Hello and welcome back to Focus. Apologies for my extended leave. I've been feeling a little under the weather, needless to say. But I'm back and I'm good and I'm ready to go, and I hope you are too. And it's a little late, but welcome to the new year. And I would say we've been kicking it off to a great start, but wow, it has been a really quick and fast and I don't know, really underwhelming, almost amazingly overwhelming, but in the response to many old and new, issues affecting us all, I'd like to say thanks for tuning in once again and welcome back to Focus. Like I said, Earth is amazing. Not only is it blazing a trail through space, but so are we. Every second of every minute of what seems like endless, impossible time, while waiting for a bus, a train, a plane, for those last few seconds of a timer or a call from a friend. We're actually flying through space at over 60,000 miles an hour. So we're making history pretty fast, either way you look at it. And like I said, our history is pretty vast, so I'll try to keep it brief. So once again, I'd like you to come with me as I take you through a few of the journeys and some of the developments in the world today. Now, a lot has happened this year, and it's only March. Between record-breaking earthquakes, hurricanes, flooding, and snowstorms, world-leading nations and countries are recognizing and realizing climate change is happening at an alarmingly increasing rate. But the rate at which they are moving to deal with it is getting even slower, with a number of studies published showing the rise of forever chemicals in the environment. Governments all over are finally trying to take steps to move towards these. But the rate at which we're moving, like I said, is a little slow. And it's not the rise of the Terminator just yet, but the rise of the chatbots. With ChatGPT at the forefront and Microsoft and Google in its wake, putting their own out to pasture for grazing or hazing in many cases, farming the much needed data for them to one day become true AI, as apocalyptic as it may sound. Also, with February gone, so did the anniversary of the war in Ukraine, with Vladimir Putin marking it with a show of extreme force by deploying and using missiles from his hypersonic arsenal. And besides an aerial altercation between drones and jets over the Mediterranean, and a recent arrest warrant being issued for him by the I.P.C.C, it would seem like the world may be trying to get a little more control, but that's still yet to be seen. But between Putin making waves and the UK making their own waves by passing a law which many liken to propaganda or very old rhetoric, it seems like the world is, as always, in a little bit of trouble. But we'll get to that. There's a lot of things I'd like to talk to you about, and there's a lot of stuff I haven't even mentioned, but if you give me time, we will get to it all.
Dear friends, humanity is on thin ice, and that ice is melting fast.
Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, made headlines following his opening statement at the I.P.C.C. this being the 58th session of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This being the last installment of its 6th assessment report, a culmination of 6 major reports, all published by the I.P.C.C. A global warming 1.5 degrees, climate change and land, the ocean cryosphere in a changing climate, climate change 2021, the physical science basis, climate change 2022, impacts, adaptation and vulnerability, climate change 2022, mitigation of climate change. Now, this is a more comprehensive, extensive, and in-depth report compared to previous. Over 780 scientists took part. 41% of them from what they call developing countries, i.e. the ones it affected the most, or affects the most, or will affect the most. And over 33% of those scientists were female. They went through over 100 pieces of literature involved in this report, with over 300 pieces being reviewed further, but most likely not making it to the initial report. Now, Mr. Guterres went on to say that all of the greenhouse gas emissions, global rise in temperature over the last 200 years was done by, you guessed it, people, little old people. And the I.P.C.C finds that there is more than a 50% chance that global temperature will rise, that the global temperature rise will reach or surpass 1.5 degrees or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit between 2021 and 2040 across studied scenarios and under a high emissions pathway, which means if we still keep burning fossil fuels and not switching to, let's say, solar, electric, and wind renewables. Specifically, the world may hit this threshold even sooner, between 2018 and 2037. Like I've said, we make history pretty fast, and this article is pretty vast. It's separated in between 4 sections and it's over 85 pages. So I'm gonna try to keep it brief, and what I would like to do is read a section or a highlighted section from a few of the major parts from this report. So just bear with me, and hope you enjoy. Okay, before we get started, did you know that it's Women's Appreciation Month? This month is a month used to highlight the amazing achievements and how far women's rights have come since the beginning of time, I should say. But in some places, women's rights are still lacking, and instead of moving forward, it seems like we're moving back. But it's one of the reasons why in the report of over 780 scientists that contributed to this report, they highlighted the fact that over 33% were women. So it goes to show not only that women are amazing and contribute to amazing things, they have not only contributed to life on this planet. Right now, over 33% of them have contributed to an immensely important report, in my view. Because this report highlights what we as a species need to do if we want to ensure that our children, our children's children, have place to call home. We are enjoying this planet right now, and a lot of us are doing it without regard. We need to look towards the future, and by me carrying forward, I hope to do just that. And one other thing, did I say 100 and 300? I meant over 100,000 pieces of work contributed to these articles, and over 300,000 followed further review. Now, as you'd expect, a report on climate change and its effects and what we could do to maybe stop, prevent, or slow down its effects is going to be a little dense. So what I'm going to do is, out of the many topics, there is a summary for policymakers, there are the headline statements, there is the press release, and there is a longer report. What I'm going to be doing today is reading some of the highlights from the longer report, and it is broken up into 4 sections or 5 sections if you include the introduction. Section 1 is the introduction. Section 2 are the current status and trends. Section 3, long-term climate and development futures. Section 4, near-term responses in a changing climate. Section 2, current status and trends. 2.1, observe changes, impacts, and attribution. Human activities, principally through emissions of greenhouse gases, have unequivocally caused global warming, with global surface temperature reaching 1.1 degrees Celsius above 1850 to 1900. In 2011 to 2020, global greenhouse gas emissions have continued to increase over 2010 to 2019, with unequal historical and ongoing contributions arising from unsustainable energy use, land use change, lifestyles and patterns of consumption and production across regions, between and within regions, and between individuals. Human-caused climate change is already affecting many weather and climate extremes in every region across the globe. This has led to widespread adverse impacts on food and water security, human health, and on economies and society, and related losses and damages to nature and people. Vulnerable communities have historically contributed the least to current climate change and are disproportionately affected. 2.2, responses undertaken to date. International climate agreements, rising national ambitions for climate action, along with rising public awareness, are accelerating efforts to address climate change at multiple levels of governance. Mitigation policies have contributed to a decrease in global energy and carbon intensity, with several countries achieving the GHG emission reduction for over a decade. Low-emission technologies are becoming more affordable, with many low or zero-emission options now available for energy, buildings, transport, and industry. Adaptation planning and implementation progress has generated multiple benefits, with effective adaptation options having the potential to reduce climate risks and contribute to a sustainable development. Global tracked finance for mitigation and adaptation has seen an upward trend since AR5, but falls short of needs. AR5 refers to a image they have. 2.3, mitigation and adaptation actions and policies are not sufficient. At the time of the present assessment, there are gaps between global ambitions and the sum of declared national ambitions. These are further compounded by gaps between declared national ambitions and current implementation for all aspects of climate action. For mitigation, global GHG emissions in 2030 implied by NDCs announced by October 2021 would make it likely that warming will exceed 1.5 degrees during the 21st century and would make it harder to limit warming below 2 degrees. Despite progress, adaptation gaps persist, with many initiatives prioritizing short-term risk reduction, hindering transformational adaptation. Hard and soft limits to adaptation are being reached in some sectors and regions, while maladaptation is also increasing and disproportionately affecting vulnerable groups. Systemic barriers such as funding, knowledge, and practice gaps, including lack of climate literacy and data, hinders adaptation progress. Insufficient financing, especially for adaptation constraints, climate action, in particular in developing countries. Section 3. Long-term climate and development futures. 3.1. Long-term climate change impacts and related risks. Future warming will be driven by future emissions and will affect all major climate system components, with every region experiencing multiple and co-occurring changes. Many climate-related risks are assessed to be higher than in previous assessments, and projected long-term impacts are up to multiple times higher than currently observed. Multiple climatic and non-climatic risks will interact, resulting in compounding and cascading risks across sectors and regions. Sea level rise as well as other irreversible changes will continue for thousands of years at rates depending on future emissions. 3.3. Mitigation pathways. Limiting human-caused global warming requires net zero anthropogenic CO2 emissions. Pathways consistent with 1.5 degrees and 2 degrees. Carbon budgets imply rapid, deep, and in most cases, immediate GHG emission reductions in all sectors. Exceeding a warming level and returning implies increased risks and potential irreversible impacts. Achieving and sustaining global net negative CO2 emissions would reduce warming. 3.4. Long-term interactions between adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable development. Mitigation and adaptation can lead to synergies and trade-offs with sustainable development. Accelerated and equitable mitigation and adaptation bring benefits from avoiding damages and climate change and are critical to achieving sustainable development. Climate resilient development pathways are progressively constrained by every increment of further warming. There is a rapidly closing window of opportunity to secure a livable and sustainable future for all. Section 4. Near-term responses in a change in climate. 4.1. The timing and urgency of climate action. Deep, rapid, and sustained mitigation and accelerated implementation of adaptation reduces the risks of climate change for humans and ecosystems. In model pathways that limits warming to 1.5 degrees, just over 50%, with no or limited overshoot in those that limit warming to 2 degrees, just over 67%, and assume immediate action. Global GHG emissions are projected to peak in the early 2020s, followed by rapid and deep reductions. As adaptations often have long implementation times, accelerated implementation of adaptation, particularly in this decade, is important to close adaptation gaps. 4.2. Benefits of strengthening near-term action. Accelerated implementation of adaptation will improve well-being by reducing losses and damages. Especially for vulnerable populations, deep, rapid, and sustained mitigation actions would reduce future adaptation costs and losses and damages, enhance sustainable development, co-benefits, avoid locking in emissions sources, and reduce stranded assets and irreversible climate changes. These near-term actions involve higher upfront investment and disruptive changes, which can be moderated by a range of enabling conditions and removal or reduction of barriers of feasibility. 4.3. Near-term risks. Many changes in the climate including extreme events, will become larger in the near term with increasing global warming. Multiple climatic and non-climatic risks will interact, resulting in increased compounding and cascading impacts becoming more difficult to manage. Losses and damages will increase with increasing global warming, while strongly concentrated among the poorest, vulnerable populations. Continuing with current unsustainable development patterns would increase exposure and vulnerability of ecosystems and people to climate hazards. 4.4. Equity and inclusion in climate change action. Actions that prioritize equity, climate justice, social justice, and inclusion lead to more sustainable outcomes. Co-benefits reduce trade-offs, support transformative change, and advance climate resilient development. Adaptation responses are immediately needed to reduce rising climate risks, especially for the most vulnerable. Equity, inclusion, and just transitions are key to progress on adaptation and deeper societal ambitions for accelerated mitigation. 4.5. Near-term mitigation and adaptation actions. Rapid and far-reaching transition across all sectors and systems are necessary to achieve deep and sustained emission reductions and secure a livable and sustainable future for all. These system transitions involve a significant upscaling of a wide portfolio of mitigation and adaptation options. Feasible, effective, and low-cost options for mitigation and adaptation are already available, with differences across systems and regions. 4.6. Co-benefits of adaptation and mitigation for sustainable development goals. Mitigation and adaptation actions have more synergies than trade-offs with sustainable development goals. Synergies and trade-offs depend on context and scale of implementation. Potential trade-offs can be compensated or avoided with additional policies, investments, and financial partnerships. 4.7. Governance and policy for near-term climate change action. Effective climate actions require political commitment, well-aligned multi-level governance, and institutional frameworks, laws, policies, and strategies. It needs clear goals, adequate finance and financing tools, coordination across multiple policy domains, and inclusive governance processes. Many mitigation and adaptation policy instruments have been deployed successfully and could support emission reductions and climate resilience if scaled up and applied widely. Depending on national circumstances, adaptation and mitigation action benefits from drawing on diverse knowledge. 4.8. Strengthening the response. Finance, international cooperation, and technology. Finance, international cooperation, and technology are critical enablers for accelerated climate action. If climate goals are to be achieved, both adaptation and mitigation financing would have to increase manyfold. There is sufficient global capital to close the global investment gaps, but there are barriers to redirect capital to climate action. Barriers include institutional, regulatory, and market access barriers, and reduce and address the needs and opportunities. Economic vulnerability and indebtedness. In many developing countries, enhancing international cooperation is possible through multiple channels. Enhancing technology innovations systems is key to accelerate widespread adoption of technologies and practices. 4.9. Integration of near-term actions across sectors and systems. The feasibility, effectiveness, and benefits of mitigation and adaptation actions are increased when multi-sectorial solutions are undertaken that cut across systems. When such options are combined with broader sustainable development objectives, they can yield greater benefits for human well-being, social equality and justice, and the ecosystem and planetary health. Just want to give you a few thoughts and facts on the matter. What we know now: our world is 1.1 degrees warmer, with some studies suggesting it's 1.3 due to greenhouse gas emissions created by us going on with our daily lives, as unintentionally as it may be. Without action, temperatures will rise 5 to 7 degrees above pre-industrial levels. That's before tools were produced on a mass scale, or before it was commonplace to have mass production factories. And the levels are predicted to rise by the end of this century. Last year saw very little snowfall, with ice not just melting but entire ice shelves cracking and forming glaciers, with one nearly the size of New York. Earth lost over 6% of its total volume of ice in the last year alone. If we keep going at this rate, this year, if not the next, will be markedly and much more noticeably different. Our understanding of our environment is extensive. We have come a very long way, but it is still limited, in the sense that we cannot put an accurate time frame on when these things are going to affect us. When scientists first predicted that we would get to 1.5 degrees, their estimates were far. And even in between that time, no one expected the level of flooding, rain, snowstorms to get to this degree. I mean, I don't know how much you follow it, or if you paid any attention, or if you even looked at the press conference itself. Not the press conference, but the actual report carried out or presented by a number of the administrators of the I.P.C.C. If you have taken a look at it, the main takeaway is that we can do something about it if we make an attempt. And if anything, thanks to the efforts of many eco-enthusiasts around the world, there have been amazing innovations in eco-friendly technology, in renewable energy, in tidal wave innovations, in new types of turbines being developed, even to the fact of new dams being constructed in certain areas, which presents its own problems. But the level of innovation has changed and gone way past what anyone saw possible at the beginning of this whole green scheme. And I don't mean that in sense of any kind of government motion or notion. I mean in the sense of the first time solar panels were even presented to the general public. As inefficient as those early products were, they were amazing. They allowed you to turn the power of the sun into energy. As much as it didn't kick off, it should have. But with flooding on such a mass scale affecting crops and farms all over, I don't know where you are, if you're still on the fence about it. If you're in the Caribbean and you're still on the shore about it, or if you live on those nice mountains with wonderful views and you're just chilling on a hillside. Well, 10 years ago it probably didn't bother you. 15, 20 years ago it just sounded like a dream, and it even sounded like something that scientists just wanted to push out there just to get you to invest a little more money into their research. But right now it's not so much of a pipe dream anymore. It's a reality that is affecting us very, very much right now. The level and the increase is insane. I mean, if you live on the fence, if you were on the fence about it, I don't know if you heard, but in England, a soldier living on the coast of Cornwall or one of the chalk coasts. But basically, from the time he built his house to now, the hillside has eroded that much that he had to pull his entire house inwards to avoid it falling off the cliff. Don't know if his fence fell down, but I guess he's not on the fence about climate change anymore. I know that there are certain beaches around the world that looked beautiful a few years ago. If you used to, chill on those white sandy beaches, they're no longer there anymore. As hard to believe as that is, I don't think anyone could have even fathomed such a thing. And if you enjoyed those scenic views of those hills, one of those scenes might have been a landslide, and you might have witnessed an entire swath of hill just vanish. And it would look like a really disturbing picture, because out of the entire scenery, all that beautiful landscape, there's this long brown line, and it's the earth exposed in all its brilliance and all its beauty, thanks to rising temperatures created by us. What we need to focus on is our awareness. We need to bring this to the attention of the people who care about it. And even if you don't care about it, you know what? Your children might. You might want them to pay more attention about it, towards it, because at the end of the day, if the levels of floods, hurricanes, and storms and snowstorms is getting this bad, you could imagine how bad it could be in a few years' time. The Antarctic is unrecognizable. I don't know if you used to watch those documentaries from 5, 10, even 15 years ago. Snow and ice used to cover swathes of that environment. If you look at a recent picture, because we've got the beauty of having, as far as I'm concerned, what I would like to call a type 1 communication system. If you've ever done your research, that might sound familiar to you. In the sense that we can go on Google right now and you can do a time lapse, or you can go back through at least 10 years of pictures on Google Maps. Some people have seen long lost loved ones that are no longer with us, going through Google Images of all things. Would you believe it? But you can also go through it and you would notice a rapid decline in the amount of snow in the poles. Antarctica, as I said, no longer looks like what it did. We need to envision a world where that snow can reform, where a snowy Christmas to some that used to be all year round is now actual summer. And when I say summer, I mean the temperatures in the Antarctic got as the highest it's ever been. And I say that in the sense that it passed 0 degrees. And I know it doesn't sound like much, but that's actually a big thing. Now, I point out the levels of ice in the Antarctic because all of that snow, ice, that white, is important in reflecting the sunlight back into space. It prevents a large amount of the planet from retaining that heat. Without that key, and you know what? That's a discussion for another story. And I'd like to keep this as brief as possible. I'll share these thoughts with you at another time. And I know I mentioned quite a few stories at the beginning of this, but in the spirit of keeping things brief, I will have to address them in another episode. So if you stay with me, I'll get back to you on that. But once again, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Focus. Take care. For links to the articles, check out the episode description. If you want to leave a comment, check out the trailer description for the email address. For topics like these and more, check out future episodes. Like I said, the world is an amazing place. There's a lot going on, and sometimes we just need to take a moment to focus.